Hey, everybody. Welcome back to CAF's Heroes of Sport. My name is Bob Abbott, co-founder of Challenged Athletes Foundation, and each week you'll meet some of the world's most amazing challenged athletes. This week, we get to meet the star of the brand new documentary, 7 Yards, the Chris Norton story. Chris Norton joins us. Chris, how you doing?
Hey, Bob, I'm doing well. Couldn't be better.
So I watched the film the other day, and so take me back. We're talking October 2010, and from your background, you were one of those high school athletes who just was always working hard, right? And the fact that you made the team as a freshman in college at Luther College, for a lot of people, you got 100 people on a roster, 120 people on a roster. For you to even make the team, were you surprised?
I was like coming in, like I was a little intimidated. There was a ton of players. I wasn't used to competing against so many guys. I came from a smaller high school, and I was always kind of like the top of my class for athletes. But then you're thrown into a room full of college athletes who have all done really well at their respective high schools. So there's a ton of competition, and yeah, you're just trying to make a name for yourself, work hard, and do your job.
So October 2010, routine play, right? It's you're covering a kickoff after your team scores, and your world changes forever. Take me through the play.
Yeah, so it's third quarter. We're mounting this comeback. I can remember very vividly our kicker huddling up, and he's like, "All right, so the play is mortar kick right, which simply is a short, high arching kick to the right side of the field." I don't know why he didn't just call it kick right, because the kicker was so bad. Every kick was short and high arching. But anyway, I'm pumped because I play on the right side of the field. So I know I'm going to be in on the action. And that's all I ever want to do is try to prove myself. And so I'm lined up, the ball's kicked. I'm sprinting downfield as hard as I possibly can go. And I see this opening forming. My instincts tell me that ball carrier, he's going to try running through that gap. But I'm going to stop. I'm going to drive my shoulders so hard through his legs that hopefully he'll drop the ball. And so I hit him with full speed, full force, but I mistimed my tackle just by a split second. So instead of getting in front of the ball carrier with my head collides right with his legs. And in an instant, I just lose all feeling of movement from my neck down. I was completely conscious. It felt like a routine play. I actually, at first, I'm thinking it might be like a really bad stinger.
Right.
The whistle blows, the power clears off, but I can't get up. I'm trying to push off the ground, but nothing's working. And it just feels like someone just flipped the power off to my body. And so I'm just waiting there for the power to come back up. I had no idea, but I suffered a severe spinal cord injury, and it would take me many years before I was able to kind of pick myself back up. And they gave me a 3% chance to ever regain any feeling or movement back below the neck.
So if it was fracture and dislocation between C3 and C4, we're talking they're cutting your uniform off, the chopper, you're laying on the field or on the stretcher, I'm sure going, I want to give everybody a thumbs up, and you can't even do it. So when you're and then you go, everything happens so fast. You're in the MRI, those things are so ridiculously claustrophobic. What was going through your head? Did you feel that, oh my God, my life has just changed forever?
Yeah, I was like wrestling with like the reality of what was happening, but like everything inside of me was like, this isn't supposed to happen to me. Like, bad things happen to other people. It happens to people you read about on a newspaper or watch on television. But there's no way something bad can happen to me. Like, I just believe, like, in my little bubble of life, nothing like life altering happened to me. So I'm just thinking I'm immune to horrible, unlikely scenarios happen to me. I'm like a happy-go-lucky, optimist kind of guy. So I'm just like, okay, no way. And so when things were like looking grim and really bad, I closed my eyes and I just tried to block everything out. Like I tried to escape the reality. I didn't want to accept it. Like, this is a nightmare. Like, this is my worst nightmare. I'm an athlete. That's my identity. Like, I can't be anything else at the time I was thinking. And so I was just in my head praying, trying not to look around and to take in what was happening. So I was so scared.
So you're going to be in the hospital for a while. So your sisters, Katie and Alex, they brought your room from home into the hospital to give you some sort of normalcy, right? And every night you read all the positive notes that were coming in. And I think sometimes people underestimate one, power of sport, but also just the power of faith. And for you, having your family surrounding you, and I don't know anybody on the planet who has better friends than you have. Your friends from
Thank you.
college basically coming in to see you, setting up, basically when you went back to school, they were like single dads taking you to class and making sure that you were okay. How important was all of that, all of the surroundings in getting you to the point you're at today?
Oh, it was crucial. Like having that support system of my parents, my sister, I was never alone one night in the hospital. I was there for 4 months. And between the rotation of family and friends, I was never left alone. That was pretty impressive. We were 3 hours away from the hospital in my hometown. And then, yeah, constantly my door was revolving of friends and strangers, even just like wanting to wish me the best. And I think it's not like some people are scared, though, to come and visit you, or they are intimidated. I don't know what to say, right? Like there's that fear, but it's not about what you say. It's just about showing up and knowing that you're there for the other person. So I would encourage anyone who knows of a loved one or someone who's going through something difficult, just reach out to let them know, like, you're there for them. Like you want to be there and just show up. You don't have to say anything magical or special. I didn't need anybody to like come and give me a pep talk. That's not what I wanted. I just wanted somebody to come over to be there with me and just hang out and just have some normalcy. But yeah, so great support system. Even something that wasn't really told in the documentary that was really important was that my sister Alex, she actually relocated to Decorah, Iowa, which is where my college is. So for me to transition into college, she moved there so to help me to get around the classes, get me an appointment. And she was kind of the bridge between coming back to college and then with my friends taking over. So eventually my friends took over helping me out in what she did, but she was kind of that gap filler to like someone I can depend on when I first went back to college, because these guys that were taking care of me in college, I'd known them for 6 weeks or 8 weeks before I got injured. So like all new relationships, but great people. So it kind of just took some time to make that adjustment.
So you're one of the nurses kneels next to you one day and says, "You will beat this." And at that point, I mean, doctors have this tendency not to have the best bedside manner in the world. You'll never move again. 3% chance you'll ever have a feeling below your neck. Having somebody who is, and basically you're dependent on, tell you that you'll beat this. How important was that?
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was the fourth night in the hospital, and I can't sleep at night. I'm restless and I'm scared for my future. Like, am I ever going to meet a girl? Will I ever be happy? And I was not going to get any sleep. I was crying, and this physician's assistant comes in, just somebody that will check your vitals. And typically, when they check your vitals, they don't say anything to you. It's late at night. They just leave you alone, and they walk away. Well, she comes over, down on one knee, and she says, "Chris, look me in the eyes." And she's kind of mean about it. And she's a short, slender woman, short reddish hair, and she's got this voice that sounds like she came straight out of a Western movie. And so I lock eyes with her, and she says, "My name is Georgia. I'm from Wyoming. Do you know anyone from Wyoming?" And I say no, and I'm just thinking, like, where is this going? Like, it's almost like 2 a.m.
It's not like you can go anywhere.
Yeah. And she says, "Well, people from Wyoming don't tell lies. And I want you to know, we'll beat this. You will beat this. And I just instantly just start crying. I needed to hear those words so badly. And it just completely restored my faith. It was just something where I was just questioning all the time and effort I was putting into my recovery. And like, is it worth it? Like all these other medical professionals were telling me it's not likely. So maybe I should just quit. But that voice, that moment, she just gave me that courage to just keep going.
So when the doctors, you're getting phantom pain, and at that point, the doctor's saying you're never going to be able to feel anything in your legs ever again. But you know in your gut that it's not phantom pain, it's real pain. Talk a little bit about what you did to prove that doctor wrong.
Yeah, so good. I'm feeling something new in my toe and I'm excited about it. My dad's with me, we're excited about it. I'm like praying and working towards to move something in my legs, anything. And so when I wake up with this new sensation in my left big toe, I'm excited about it. And so when I tell my doctor this great news, I could just see right away in his face that he could care less. And so I asked him to take a look at it, and he wouldn't. He refused to take a look at my big toe, and he explained that, Chris, you're experiencing a phantom feeling where you have believed that you can feel something differently in your toe, but it's not real. It's not because, it's going to move or it's not going to it's going to wake up. It's just something that people with spinal cord injuries can have. And I knew, though, it wasn't this phantom feeling. And then the last thing he said is, Chris, you'll never move anything in your legs ever again. I was devastated, just completely floored. My dad was with me. He was devastated. And he just tells me, Chris, don't let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do. And so I hear George's words again of, you will beat this. With my dad supporting me, I'm like, I'm going to prove this doctor wrong. So I get going to work. I started out when I was first in the hospital, I could only get like 1 hour of therapy in. I eventually got to 2, and then 3 hours is the max amount that they allow on the rehab floor. But 3 hours wasn't enough. So I asked the hospital and pushed for a 4th hour. Eventually I get that 4th hour, but first they said no. And then I asked for a 5th hour, they say no again. And this time they meant it. I never actually got it. But I asked my therapist to write up workouts that I can do outside of my training, so that when I wasn't in my therapy, I could be doing workouts with my family or friends. And what I found is, like, when you take care of today, your future will take care of itself. Well, a week later, after that little exchange with that doctor, on Thanksgiving morning, of all mornings, I wiggle that exact left big toe. That doctor said I would never move again. And I was so pumped.
That's so cool. So when did Katie and Photolanthropy come to the table and say they want to do a film on you?
Yeah, so Katie Norton is the founder of Photolanthropy, just a little nonprofit film company in Dallas. And they just share inspirational stories. And they heard about mine and they wanted to do a film on my life story. And we just had the same mission. Like, how can we encourage others? How can we be a light in the world that feels dark a lot? And so we just started talking about this idea and how great would it be to end the film for the entire film with the walk, the 7-yard walk that I planned to take Emily down her aisle. That was my huge goal. I was going to walk her side by side. And although I couldn't walk 7 yards at the time.
Right.
So we're doing all this filming, interviews leading up to the wedding, and they're already pushing out the documentary and website designs and everything that I'm walking 7 yards. And the movie's titled 7 Yards, and I can't even walk 7 yards. So it was a little intimidating, to say the least. Nerve-wracking, but I just trained, sometimes 4 to 6 hours a day just to get that walking, get my strength back, and so I can take Emily down the aisle as smooth as possible. So it's just a hard journey, and I'm so thankful to share it in the documentary 7 Yards, which is available on all the kinds of different streaming platforms. But just to give people encouragement right now, it's been a rough year. So I'm just so thankful to have this.
So when Katie approached you and said they want to do the movie, a lot of times when it's a documentary, they have footage or they use photos to reenact what happened. In this case, they're reenacting it. They're doing the what happened to you. How hard was it for you to relive that? Right? Because obviously at that point you've come a long way, and now you're sort of watching your past come to life in front of you. Was that hard for you?
Yeah, it was hard at times, and unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of the actual footage from
Right.
some of the events. While we would love to use the actual footage, we also though wanted to give the audience, the viewers, something really visual. So it's not just a bunch of talking heads on a documentary. It's going to be really compelling. And so, yeah, to do these reenactments where I had to go back and just some of the most challenging moments of my journey was, at first, I thought it'd be fun because I'm a motivational speaker. I share my story hundreds and thousands of times. So I'm used to like really going back and taking audience through those moments. But to actually, like, for instance, for the injury, reenacting the injury, getting on the shoulder pads for the first time since my injury, a helmet, and then laying on the exact same spot on the football field at Luther College where I was injured, just 10 years earlier was absolutely like, eerie and gripping and almost spooky because all these emotions came flooding back of, wow, like I can remember what it felt like when I was last in this situation. And it was completely different. I was so scared, the first time, like I had so much uncertainty, like what would my life be like? But thankfully, reenacting it, I had the peace that I know how the story ends. So I had great happiness in that and know that it's going to be okay. But it was really interesting having those emotions just come pouring back. And, some of my family had to reenact some moments that we didn't have raw footage of. And that was really emotional. My mom broke down crying multiple times. And in the film, you'll see her crying a lot. She's a very emotional lady. But I think it really brings the story to life.
So talk a little bit about this amazing woman, Emily, who you met and obviously is a huge part of your recovery, and just how you met and the fact that she embraced this is a challenge, right? This being a partner with this is a huge commitment and a huge challenge. Talk a little bit about what makes Emily so special.
Yes, I met Emily online, and meeting her for the first time, I was definitely nervous because I told her about my injury, that I'm in a wheelchair, I need a lot of help, but like, I don't know, she really understood the gravity of my situation. So I was nervous. Maybe I'd scare her away. I had some of these insecurities that I was fighting with. And so as I'm waiting there at the location to meet her in a public area, and I see her coming across the street, I'm pretty sure my jaw just dropped down. Like I had to pick it back up. I was like, wow, she is beautiful. And I just tell myself, Chris, keep it together. Act like you've been here before. She's way out of my league, but just stay confident. And it was just amazing because she just wanted to get to know me for who I was and didn't get all hung up on the wheelchair and the physical challenges. She wanted to get to know like my heart and just how I saw my positive attitude. That was really interesting to her. Plus, I started a nonprofit, the Chris Norton Foundation, and she was really drawn to that because her whole heart is how can she serve others? Like she wants to help kids in the foster care system, and she wanted to adopt, and she had all these aspirations to just help kids who don't feel loved. So we just had these missions of just serving others, and that really brought us together.
So you wanted to walk to get your diploma. And were you amazed when you did that, what the response was? People just, that went viral, right? People just went crazy.
Yeah, so it was really cool too. Like Emily became my partner in crime with this training for this graduation walk, this goal that I had after I was injured to walk across the stage. And she was my hardest trainer by far. just pushed me. And we walked across the stage hoping to, inspire the room, just like encourage people who have seen me go from, on the football field flat to now walking across the stage with assistance. And what was crazy was that video went viral. It got viewed over 300 million times across the world. And we had no idea it would be, people would respond to it, but people were writing to us thousands of messages of just, Chris, like, this encouraged me, inspired me so much. I want to overcome my challenges, whether it was, maybe there was a physical challenge, a disability, a depression, anxiety, whatever it may be. Like, people have had all these horrible losses, difficulties, and they just felt this hope that they can get through it, all because they watched this graduation walk. And this sent me on a whole new mission in life that I got to encourage people. We got to do more to help people who are struggling. There's a lot of people struggling out there. And so that's what set us on this 7-yard walk journey, helped me with my motivational speaking career, and just kind of set me on fire to how can I serve people.
So on the 7-yard strip that you had, that you guys walked, and there's a huge difference walking for graduation than walking down the aisle, correct? I mean, it's a lot harder walking down the aisle side by side.
Yeah, so in the graduation walk video, you'll notice Emily's right in front of me. She's given me a lot of great support. Well, for the wedding walk, we wanted to do it side by side, kind of the traditional way that you would leave the wedding altar. And so when we first tried to walk side by side together, I couldn't even take a step, not even a single step. And I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, this is insane. We should have never agreed to this. Like, I'm just like regretting this goal altogether. Like I said, the documentary was already in the works. Like, what were we thinking? But it was just something that every single day I just tried to get just a little bit better, and it just slowly improved. And I was able to get those 7 yards. And for the graduation, it was like 4.5 yards. So it was 3 yards difference, but her moving to my side where I lost a lot of my assistance and support was really tricky.
So what did it say on that 7-yard strip? And I was watching the movie, I'm like, I want to see, I know there's words there, but I can't see what it says.
Above all else, love each other deeply.
Love that. That is so spectacular. And you went from the worst day of your life when you were paralyzed to this amazing wedding day. And how did you propose?
The proposal was, I put a lot of plan and thought into that. I had, it was right the day before the graduation walk, so already a big weekend that I've been training for and working at. And I was thinking, well, I have all the family coming into town, so let's get the family together, give them something to celebrate with an engagement. How cool would it be to walk across the stage, not just with my girlfriend, but with a fiance, someone I'm going to marry and spend the rest of my life with. Plus, like, Emily and I have already talked about a proposal. Like, we already knew, like, we were meant together, like, be together, and it was going to be forever. And just like, wow, what a great time to propose then this weekend. So I surprised her. She thought we were picking up a present at a restaurant that I knew, and little did she know, I had rose petals, music playing, and I proposed her on the spot, and she started crying, and I think I got choked up. I'm not usually a person like a loss of words, but I got all choked up and didn't know what to say, and I was so nervous, but it went really well.
So you went from just being married to family guy. How many kids now?
7 kids currently.
Wait,
5
what?
adopted. 7 kids. You've probably been hearing them in the background as if we're listening to this right now. But they 7 kids, 5 adopted girls, and then we have one that we're fostering, another one that we're co-parenting, and we have 6 kids in the house right now because our oldest is living on her own. She's 21 years old. She's living in Iowa, but 6 kids in the house. So a lot of commotion, a lot of excitement. and they're all in virtual school right now.
I love it.
Except for the
Chris,
two youngest. We have two youngest ones are napping.
so if people want to watch the movie, and you need to watch this film, this is one of the most uplifting films you will ever see. The 7 Yards, the Chris Norton story. So Chris, where can people watch it? How can they get it?
You can rent it, purchase it on places like Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video. You can get the DVD at different stores and Amazon, Google Play. There's a lot of different places that you can get it, but those are probably some of the bigger ones.
How important, I think people underestimate the power of sport. The fact that you were an athlete and an exceptional athlete. How important has sport been in you being able to overcome?
Oh man, the power of sport has been has been crucial to my recovery and who I am and where I am, because it was through sports that I learned about teamwork. I learned about grit and perseverance, and you don't quit when things are hard and challenging. You push even harder, and you just don't give up on each other. So it was through all those different things that taught me in my recovery that I can't quit just because it's hard. Like I've already learned through sport that you don't give up. You keep going, you keep progressing, and you can progress when you put in the work. And so I just knew if you don't like where you're at, you got to do something about it. And I just felt like I had to keep doing something about, my injury. And, now I don't train for a physical recovery anymore. I found great peace and contentment with where I'm at. I love serving others and trying to encourage and inspire others. So I think you can still find joy despite a physical challenge. Like that doesn't dictate your happiness. There's people who can run, jump, and swim who are miserable. So it has nothing to do with your physical abilities for your happiness. So now I'm just about serving others. That's what gives me healing. How can I serve somebody else through my speaking, through my foundation, my book, and now this film is another way for me to just encourage other people.
You are spectacular, my friend. I love the film. Thank you so much for joining us on CAF's Heroes of Sport. You are the epitome of what hero of sport means. So thank you for joining us, Chris. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Bob.
Chris Norton has been our guest, CAF's Heroes of Sports. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.